Welcome everybody, it is me, it is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios. Y'all know what it is, it's Tech Tuesday. Now, as we have been doing for the past few weeks, actually, the past 7 weeks, this is now week 8, we're covering Linux basics for hackers. So of course, the cyber overlords come down, they tell me, hey, you need to keep going. And I'm like, oh, if you say so, alright, let's do this. So, I don't want to keep you all waiting. Look, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, do that now. We're going to get right into it. So, today is all about scripting. Alright, so in Chapter 8 of our book is called Bash Scripting. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover a little bit about this. So, first thing we're doing, we're already logged into Linux. We're going to make my screen bigger so you all can see it. And we're going to do ls. We're going to see, I already created all the scripts. Alright, they're all there. Every single one of them. So, the first one we're going to look at is going to be Cyber Warriors. We're going to go to VI. Alright, you can do this through any editor, but we're going to use VI so that we have the color codes and you can kind of break down what it looks like. So this first part, and actually let me move this over a little bit because my logo is low in the way for you all. There we go. So this first part right here, this shebang, this hashtag with the exclamation point is also known as a shebang, and it tells your terminal what program to run in order to execute this. So you don't necessarily have to have an extension on it. It's the whole premise to this. So when we go to run this, and I'm going to show you that it's saved without an extension, it's actually going to run through Bash. Now, if Bash is there, it'll run. If Bash isn't there, you're going to have issues. In our case, Bash is there. And then the next one with the hashtag is a comment. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video down below. All right, make sure you all do that. And then we're just going to echo hello Cyber Warriors. So this is going to be our first script, the first one ever. Now, if you want to use a different editor, feel free. VI has come a long way. It shows you all of the color codes, especially once you put things like bin bash in there or save it as a shell script or something along those lines. So in order to get out of VI, escape, you hit the colon and then Q. Now, if you're writing this file, which we haven't made any changes, so we're not writing it, you would put a W there. And then it would ask you to save and what you want to save it as and all this other stuff. So we do that. All right, cool. So we have that. Now, if I go and do LL, I'm going to get to see my permissions. Here's the problem. So this hello Cyber Warriors right here, it does not have execute permissions. So if I were to sit here and go /hello Cyber Warriors, it's going to yell at me. Permission denied. There's no permission to execute this file. So in order to fix that, what we're going to do is chmod, and we're going to do 755, right? Yeah, 755. And we're going to say, hello, Cyber Warriors. There. Now, if we do LL, and we go to our hello Cyber Warriors, we can see it's now green, and it's executable. So if I clear this and do /hello Cyber Warriors and hit enter, there you go. You've made your first script. Now I know I went through this a little quick, so let me go through and show you this one more time. So let's go to our file in here. So it's a shebang /bin/bash hashtag. This is just comments. You can put whatever comment you want here. I want you to comment down below how you feel about this video. And then you got echo, and when you echo something, it's just like typing it into your terminal. Keep in mind that's basically what this is doing is it's going to issue every command that you would issue in your terminal screen itself, and it's going to say echo hello Cyber Warriors to the screen, and we saw that. So once again, colon Q, and we're out. And actually, let me do something because I just realized that you can't see the end of VI. So real quick, so you can see what this looks like. See how the bottom says hello Cyber Warriors, tells me the file I'm in. 5 lines, 90 bytes, gives me all that information. Again, colon Q is how you quit. All right, I know, a little VI lesson for you people. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a different script. So this one, we're going to get a little more advanced. So we're going to look at our welcome script. So this one's a little different. All right, we still have, as you can see up here, we still have the shebang and then bin bash. It's still going to execute as if it's a bash script. It's another script, and this one you're going to prompt for the user input, place the input in a variable, and display the variable contents in a string. So it's going to echo, it's going to print out what is your name. You're going to type it in, and actually I'm going to do something here. Let me insert, I'm going to change this up just a hair so that it provides that space. There we go. So let's do it that way. All right. And then it's going to read that variable. So when it says read, it's reading that input into the variable named name. And then it's going to echo, what chapter are you on for Linux Basics for Hackers? Man, can I not talk today. It's going to read that in as a variable called chapter. And then the final thing it's going to do, it's going to print that all to the screen. So it's going to echo it to the screen, welcome, whatever name you type in, to chapter, whatever chapter you put in, of Linux Basics for Hackers. So let's go in, and now here's going to be something different. Because I changed this file, if I want to save it, I have to write the file. So we write and then quit. W means write, Q means quit, and we hit enter. So now it's saved. But just like before, we have this welcome script down here, and it is not executable. So we're going to do another chmod 755 welcome script.sh. Clear. And now we're going to do / welcome script.sh. What is your name? The Cyber Warrior. What chapter? 8. Enter. Welcome the Cyber Warrior to chapter 8 of Linux Basics for Hackers. So that is how you would take in a variable and print it back to a screen, or send it to another function that you're going to do later on down the line by reading it in. All right, and it stores it in that variable for you. So let's get into some of our hacking stuff, right? This is Linux Basics for Hackers. So let's talk a little bit about the hacking portion of it. And one of the biggest things you can do in hacking is reconnaissance. It's the first step to any engagement as a pen tester, a red teamer, anything like that. So when you're doing reconnaissance, you have, of course, your OSINT. You have the, going out there and looking at information that is freely available on the public internet or even on the dark web. But then you also have port scans, which helps with your reconnaissance when you're dealing with networks, all right, and your network pen testing and network engagements. So let's take a little bit of a look at nmap. So nmap, in its essence, it's going to be nmap, and you can look at the man page or the help screen for this. But I'm going to just type it out there so you can see, and we're going to say type of scan, and then the next part is going to be your target IP, and then optional target port. So if we were going to do this, which I'll show you here in a second, but this is the information that it needs at a minimum. And you don't even need the type of scan at a minimum. You can actually just put in nmap and an IP address, and it'll automatically start scanning that. And I can't recall off the top of my head what the default scan is. I want to say it's SS. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But there's a default scan, so you don't actually have to do type of scan. It just helps to get the functionality and do a more complete scan or different types of scans. And this is not a course on nmap, so please do not judge me. I do not have my nmap material in me because it is still a lot to know. All right, all these tools are a lot to know, and even I have to Google and look stuff up on occasion. So if we're going to use this, though, what we're going to do is ST, which is a full connect scan. It is a TCP connect scan, and it actually establishes that connection to determine services, service type, things of that nature. And then we're going to give it an IP. So we're going to use my own IP internally. And we're going to hit enter. All right. And it's going to kick off. No, none of the 1,000 ports can be scanned. I can even do this. Even if I change it to 127. So if I do 127.0.0.1, we got nothing. So let's make this a little more interesting. File, new tab, and we're going to do python-m http.server on port 80. So now, if I do this, we're going to do that one. Now it found one port open. All right. And actually, what I'm going to do, because of the scripts that we do have running, so that we can get a little feedback, we're going to serve it on MySQL 3306. All right. So now that's nmap, right? ST is going to be a full TCP connection. So if we wanted to look for 3306, which is a port commonly used for MySQL, at the end of this, you would do -p, or you can really put it even before the IP address. When I do scripts or when I do nmap commands, I tend to put the IP address at the end right before I put my output file. It's just how I go about doing things. And we're going to tell it to look at port 3306. And it found it again. Now it's saying MySQL. It's not MySQL. We know this isn't MySQL because I just stood up a web server on that port. So this is where some of that differentiation can come in and where you can have issues if you're not doing a full service detection. All right. And again, this isn't an nmap class, so we're not going to get into it. But because the port is open, that port is commonly known as MySQL. That's what it says. So we're going to leave that there. Because like I said, I want to use this for here, the next bit that we're going to do. So we're going to build our first port scan sort of script. So let's go into vi mysql scanner.sh. So what this one does, and again, shebang in bash, and it's designed to find hosts within that IP range that have MySQL installed or a MySQL service running. All right, so as you can see, it's running nmap, full connect, and instead of just an IP, this is going to scan the entire 230.0 subnet. So it's going to go from 230.1 all the way up to 230.255. Well, 254 because 255 is going to be your broadcast address. And it's just going to scan for port 3306. Here's the kicker to it though. You're not going to see any of this information. It's actually going to send this output to dev null, which, as we talked about in an earlier video, is kind of where you can send. Some people like to send errors there if they're working on a script or something where they just want actual output. They don't want the errors because they already know what they're going to be. So sometimes it's like permissioned errors for when you're finding files and things of that nature. So they send the errors to dev null. In this case, we're going to send all of the nmap command to dev null, but we're going to output it to this file called MySQL scan. And then from there, this script is going to cat, so it's going to read MySQL scan, and it's going to then pipe, so grep, it's going to send it, and it's going to go grep open, and it's going to send that to MySQL scan 2. And then it's going to cat MySQL scan 2. Understand, the only part of this script you are actually going to see is the end when it runs the cat MySQL scan 2. And one of the other things to pick up on this is this -OG right here is greppable format. So this is going to output the nmap results to greppable format. That's what the OG stands for. I tend to do OA, which allows me to use it outputs all. But if you're just looking for greppable and the purposes of the scan, that's what that does. So let's escape and quit. I didn't make any changes. But we do need to fix this script because it is not executable. So once again, MySQL scanner.sh clear /MySQL scanner.sh and enter. And now you're not going to see anything, and this is going to be relatively quick because of course I only have one IP on this subnet, and this is what we get. So it outputs when you did the grep for open, it printed out that entire line. So host 192.168.230.131, port 3306, open TCP MySQL. That's simple. But this was running nmap, right? And this was running a command you already built in. What if you wanted to take options? What if you wanted to make it a little bit more advanced and give yourself a choice of what to put in? Well, we already did variables once in a previous script. So let's take a look at some more variables. So what if we go to so let's clear this out, and we do vi MySQL ADB and hit enter. So now this is where it's going to take input. So echo, all right, so we got our shebang again. Echo, enter the starting IP address. So this is that very first part, and this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about nmap and how this works when we get down here. But you're going to enter your first IP. Then you're going to enter the last octet of that IP. So if you only want to scan from .1 to .5 or .1 to .255, whatever the case may be. And then it's going to enter the port number you want to scan for. So you go in, You look for the port, you figure out what port number you want to scan for. In this case, we're doing 3306. You type that in, and it's going to hold that in a variable. And then here's, our nmap command. So once again, we're at nmap-st first IP, which is this read in right here, and then last octet of IP. So this is what you can do with nmap. And let me pull up another window actually, so you can see. Again, not an nmap class, but because it's part of the script, we're going to show you. So if I put in 168.230.0, all right, or let's just put 131 since that's what my IP is, and I say I want to scan, I don't know, 10 of those IPs, I can actually go from there and say 141, and this will scan every IP address from .131 to .141. So you don't have to put in a /24 or a /30 or, you know, a /18 or whatever. If you know that that last octet only goes from, of the range you're looking for, only goes from maybe .10 to .20, you can put that in. Now this gets more to networking and subnet mask and understanding your subnets and subnetworking, but you can actually do that. So that's the premise to entering the last octet. And then we go back over here, and again, is looking for the port that you're looking for. We are going to look for 3306. It's going to send the results to dev null so that it doesn't show on the screen. It's going to output into a greppable format called MySQL scan. It is going to cat, so it's going to read out MySQL scan, but it's going to pipe it to grep open. So it's only going to look, you're not going to see this output yet. All right, so it's going to pipe it to there. It's going to create or send the results to a file called MySQL scan2, and then it's going to print out to your screen MySQL scan2 and the results that are on that page. So let's take a look at that. So let's quit. Chmod 755 MySQL80v, and we're going to hit enter. And then we're going to do clear ./MySQL80v and hit enter. Enter the starting IP address. So, well, like I said, we know what our starting IP address is. 230.131. We are going to start with our own. Enter the last octet. We're going to say, hey, go up to 141. I know nothing's there, but we're going to put it in anyways. Port number 3306. And we're going to hit enter. And it's going to go through and scan. And we get the same results. We still see the same results from the last time we did this. But now you're given options. You're able to write in your own variables and get the results that you're looking for, all with using nmap and scripting. So maybe you have a an nmap command that you run on a regular basis, and the only thing that ever changes is the IP address or the port or whatever the case may be, maybe the output file name. You can actually go in here, clear, and let's go back to my VI so we can look at this. So one of the things you can do, and what I find is beneficial when you have something very repetitive, you want to build these scripts out, is, okay, instead of entering the last octet IP or the first IP, I don't know, maybe you do want those all the time and the port. One of the other things you could do is enter the name of the file that it's going to store to. So then you put that file name in. So maybe it's a client name or a person or whatever it is you're scanning against, right? Maybe you have a name or a way of doing things that is always, it's repetitive and it happens all the time. So you read that in as a variable, and then you put that variable name here. And then all you do is put the variable name, and then you can put a 2, or you can change it. You can give it a different variable name when you do this output, and you just store it in as variables. And it's worth playing around with, however you want to do it. You can get all this to be the exact same, or you can change it as you see fit. It's all about taking what you have here and adapting it to what you need, because scripting is very important. And it is something when you do things, especially pen testing and red teaming, that is very repetitive. Being able to develop your own scripts and write in things like Bash or Python or Ruby are of vital importance. Even if they're not long programs, the ability to come off the rip and just write out a quick 10-line script on a whim, because maybe the tools are getting caught, but you know you can write a script that can bypass a bunch of this stuff when you're in the middle of a red team engagement or a pen test or something like that, then do that. Write that script, because then there's no signatures out there for it. So it makes it a little bit easier to get around different systems. So saying that, one of the last things I want to take a look at, and this is going to be VI common bash commands. So I want you all, and actually let me make this a little bigger, and come up. Was shift last one? All right, no, wait is. So we're gonna start at the top. Crap, did that again. So right here, we're gonna scroll up. So I'm gonna scroll through. Bear with me so that you can see these all. I'm not gonna cover them all. What I want you to do is take the time, pause as you go through this video, to go through and look at all these. Okay, because these are common commands that you can use within your bash script to do different things. Whether it's something like export, which sends a variable so that other scripts can read it. Get ops, which parses arguments if you're going to put arguments in a shell script. Test to evaluate arguments. And then wait for a background process to complete. All right. So I want you to look at all these, take note, or if you have the book, these are in. I took these straight from here. This is where they're from. So please go buy the book if you haven't done so yet. The link, as it has been for the past 7 weeks, is in the description down below. Go and buy yourself a copy. Again, I cover things that don't work as well. As we saw, everything in here works for this chapter. The bash scripts and the bash commands that we created are still functional. So there was nothing to replace. I just changed some of the verbiage. So, yeah, take a look at this. Background break. But anyways, those are your common built-in commands. I hope you see them. I hope you saw them. I hope you saw the scroll, and you can go back, pause, screenshot, whatever you want to do. Type them out yourself so that you have them. All right. Otherwise, look, this is just one lesson on bash scripting. Bash scripting and scripting in general is hugely important to pen testing, red teaming, hacking, blue teaming, whatever you want to call it. As a hacker, as someone who likes to find ways around things, as somebody who likes to find solutions to problems or stop doing repetitive tasks over and over, scripting is of vital importance. So please make sure you pay attention. Make sure you start developing those capabilities if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, look, I don't have any of the merch on today. I'm sorry, I'm off this week. I'm doing this just because I love y'all. I got this though, so my towel is still available on the store. But anyways, you can check all the ways you can support CyberWarrior Studios and the CyberWarrior down below in the description. As always, I love you all. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Until then, Cyber Overlords, take me back up.